Howdy. So, take it easy, sit down. We're going to do something for a minute that's going to require mostly our attention. And so, chill yourself out. And this is something that was one of the first practices I did with my teacher. And it's not exactly the most fun thing to do. So, if you're halfway through it and you're like, this kind of blows, like, we all feel like that. It's all good. This isn't torture, but it's very, in my experience, very illustrative. So rather than having this feeling of like, okay, well, you want to find a blockage or some sort of tension point and then release it, well, how do you do that, right? And I'd get into these trainings and these workshops, retreats, and it'd be like, okay, you found a blockage, and I'm like, I'm right on the blockage. It definitely sucks. Like, there's, okay, for sure, I got it. And then the instruction would be like, however you can, release that, relax that thing. And I would be like, man, tell me how to do that, and it probably wouldn't be an issue anymore. But I don't know how to relax things, right? So this practice is as definitive and as graphic as an explanation as I could possibly imagine. So we're gonna do it. It's not crazy. It's not difficult. I've kind of hyped it up, but if you do this more than one time, you find that the second time you do it, you're probably going to be less willing to do it, at least in my experience. So, first step, before we go there, if you have heart issues, if you have a weak heart, if you are at risk of having a heart attack or an aneurysm or any of that stuff, chill out. Don't worry about this. If you merely listen to it, you're going to get the idea. The physical embodiment of what I'm going to say and present is going to be the best thing, but just for safety's sake, if you have a weak heart, sit this one out, right? So take a hand, any hand, and make a fist. Now, doesn't matter how you make the fist, wherever you've learned it, but you want to make a fist, and then you want to tighten it. And you want to tighten it some more. And you want to squeeze your hand to make the tightest fist you could possibly make. And keep making it. And keep squeezing. Keep pulling it in to the center. Keep squeezing it. You're trying to make a fist hard enough to break through brick. How do you do that? Keep squeezing it. Getting it white knuckled. Getting it harder than that. Making it more than what you're doing. Try harder. Squeeze more. Go for it. Don't skimp out. Don't be afraid. Keep pushing. Do it. And I'm going to tell you what to do next, but you have to listen to my words, okay? You're going to let go of your hand, but you're going to do it with your mind. Don't open your hand. This fist that's hard enough to break through a brick wall, take this fist, put your mind inside of your fist, all this tension that's inside of here, and open your hand up. But don't use your muscles. Go to the center of your palm. Feel what's tense there, and slowly let that release, and have that release open your hand. It's probably not going to be a quick process. If you've already opened your hand, you're not doing this correctly. So slowly put your mind in your hand, and whatever feels tense, whatever feels blocked, just let it go, let it flow. Get your mind from your palm to the tips of your fingers. This is where I'm at right now. I'm not forcing it, I'm not straining, but there is something inside of my hand that's slowly releasing. let's just sit here for a minute with our hands on our laps and try to get the tense hand to feel like your relaxed hand. What's an easy way to do that? Focus on your breath. Focus on the diaphragm descending and ascending as you breathe out and in and out and out and in. All right, well, let's pretend it's been 5-10 minutes. And let's say you have broken up all the tension you could possibly break up. You've released everything you could possibly release in your hand, and it's still like this, right? That's what I'm dealing with. So how do you get it to open? You don't do it by opening your muscles and twitching and just tensing the corresponding muscles. What we're going to do is we're going to do this through movement. And so just like I showed, standing up, if you get to the edge of your seat, let your hands drop. All right, this one's still cupped because it's still tense. I'm not forcing it open. You're going to bend your elbows up, palm to palm, and then you're going to slowly make a circle with your hands out and then back in and out and then back in. And so if you haven't already, your hand should be opening more and more and more every time you bring it out. Every time you bring it back towards you, you're condensing the energy so that when it's appropriate, when you're getting your hands out, it can release. And when that happens, it's your energy that releases through your palm to your fingertips rather than your muscles. So, when we're making these circles, or when we're standing, or when we're just breathing, and we run into any of these tense places, whether it's in our belly, whether it's in our shoulder, whether it's wherever it is, what we want to do is, first priority, use your mind. Get your mind in that place, and then, per the water tradition, if anything is not flowing, and it's stopped, and it's blocked, and whatever, what does water do when it's completely stagnant and blocked? It's frozen. It's ice. It's not moving anywhere. It's cold. Its environment has created conditions that make frozen water, ice, right? And then things warm up. And when things warm up, things get less dense and they start to move and they start to flow. And so with that, we want to, when we're breathing, when we're moving, we're doing circles, whatever we're doing, if we find tension inside of ourselves, most of the time it feels like ice. It's stuck, it's tense, right? So we put our mind all in that tense place, whether it's in your shoulder, it's in the middle of your head, whether it's on the top of your head, it's your nose, it's your pinky, it's your dick, whatever the thing is, you put your mind in that thing. And then, just like the process of ice turning to water, and then eventually dissolving into mist or gas, is a process that we want to start with. And so there's two methods. One is you squeeze your hand and use just your mind inside of your palm to open it up. And the other is that you use movement to open something up. You encourage through this movement to get energy to flow from one place to another. But you're not sitting here saying energy go from here to here. You want it to go to your bicep, and then your elbow, and then your forearm, and then your wrist, and your palm, and now your fingertips, etc., now back in, etc. So you want it to, like if you've ever seen a field be irrigated before, it goes from dry, barren ground, all of a sudden there's a little bit of water that goes into it, and then it spreads, and then it raises, and then it saturates everything in its vicinity. And that's what you want your mind to do, to saturate your body. In most cases, any of the blockages that you feel, or that I've felt, I'm going to speak in first person, historically speaking, most of the time if I feel a blockage, if I feel something tense inside of me, if I put my mind there, what happens is that through very little intention, and sometimes more often no intention at all, just putting my mind there, it starts to release, starts to open up, starts to become something that's not plaguing me anymore. And so how do you put your focus on something that's uncomfortable, that has the possibility of setting you on a course that's unbalanced, but if you were to overcome, would sink you deeper into more of a sense of balance? What are those things? And how do you turn ice to water? That's what we're going for. We're not going for enlightenment. We're not going for anything in particular. We're just seeking what's stuck. How do you get it unstuck? Doesn't have to be more than that. We're just trying to live a better life. And so with that, practice if you want to, and if you don't, that's fine too. Cheers.